Welcome to the Todd Barham Leadership Podcast. Like and subscribe wherever you listen to this content and share it with a friend. All right, guys, so we're trying a different format, just me talking today. And one of the things that I'm kind of passionate about is being approachable as a leader. And I think our culture more and more is becoming untrustworthy of pastors, untrustworthy of leaders, and especially untrustworthy of establishments. And so, if you lead in a church that's been established a long time, our culture more and more is going to be untrustworthy of you, untrustworthy of your organization. And I think what is vital to combat that, especially in the leadership world, is to be an approachable leader. I think people want to know their leaders. They want to, I think we see with social media that people are wanting to see into the day-to-day lives of people that are around them. And in fact, I would almost argue with you that people are allowing you to see more and more of their lives than they probably should have. We do need some bit of privacy. We do need some bit of allowing things to be private in our own personal lives. But I think from a leadership standpoint, you have to be approachable. And the way we combat this world and their distrust of church, their distrust of leaders, their distrust of business and establishments and all those things is to be approachable. And so as a Christian, as a pastor, whether you're listening to this as a pastor, Christian leader, Christian business person, I think the way that you are approachable or the way that you set up your life to be more approachable, more people are going to be willing to follow you in your lives. And so today I have 8 keys for you that I think if you will put these principles into practice in your life, you will be a more approachable leader. So the first one, and this is a huge pet peeve of mine, and it's gonna ruffle the feathers of the super spiritual people, but you know what? I'm okay with that because Jesus did that too. My first principle to be an approachable leader is number 1, don't Jesus juke people. Don't Jesus juke people. What do I mean by this? It's don't use spiritual language to avoid a real conversation. If you don't want to do something, don't blame it on Jesus. If you don't feel called to do something, don't blame it on Jesus. Or don't tell people when they want to talk to you. It's like, no, I'm on Sabbath. I can't talk right now. Or if somebody says, hey, pastor, or hey, so-and-so, I'd love to take you out to lunch. I'm fasting right now. I can't do that. It's like, really? It's like, just say you're not available or tell him when you are. Be honest, be real. People can feel when you're dodging them, and that kills the trust in you. In fact, if you look at the Bible, Jesus doesn't say. In fact, he says, don't tell people that you're fasting. Don't tell people that you're Sabbathing. Just do it. And don't blame him. For me, I can look back on my life and there's one young lady out there and we've all done this. We all broke up with somebody and blamed it on Jesus. And there's one young lady out there that I did this to. And if you're watching, I apologize here in front of all these people. I really just didn't want to date you, but I blamed it on Jesus. We've all done it. That's the thing. But the problem is, that kills trust with people around you. When you use something spiritual to juke people, they go, well, I mean, if God didn't tell me that, so is God talking to this person differently than he's talking to me? So don't use Jesus as your out. If you don't want to do something, just don't do it. The second principle is be accessible. Be accessible. You don't have to be available all the time, but you have to be approachable. It's okay to say, I can't talk right now, but always follow it with, here's when I can talk. Closed doors push people away. Open doors, even scheduled ones, pulls people in. Kind of one thing sorry, my nose is killing me. One thing that I'm always passionate about is I leave my door open here at the church. When I'm here, unless I'm having a private meeting, my door is always open because I want people to feel that they can approach me no matter what I'm doing, no matter what's going on. Now, obviously, if I'm having a private meeting, private phone call, I'll shut the door, and they know when my door is closed that, hey, we don't need to bother pastor right now. But I want them to walk by my door 95% of the time and see that it's open because visually, I want them to feel that I am always approachable, that I'm always here. I want that not only with my staff, I want it with the church people. If I'm here at the church and I'm in my office, if I can possibly do it, I leave my door open because I want people to feel like they can approach me. Number 3, over communicate always. To be an approachable leader, we have to over communicate always. As a leader, silence creates confusion. Silence creates confusion. Now, in our church, we have a leadership team that I report to. We have elders who are over the spiritual matters of the church. We have directors that are over the business and money things of the church. I don't have to check with them to take vacation. I've been the pastor here for 14 years. But when I go on vacation, I let them know. And oftentimes we're planning a long extended vacation in the near future. And I didn't just assume that they would be okay with it. I don't have to ask them. And I don't even feel like they feel like I have to ask them. But why do I ask? Because communication builds trust and trust builds teams. So I always tell leaders, when in doubt, say more, not less. If you go, should I tell so-and-so this? Yes, tell them. When in doubt, say more, not less. And I think sometimes we as leaders go, well, I don't need to tell somebody this, so why should I tell them? Tell them. What does it hurt? And there's always times that I make big decisions and I run it by my staff. I don't have to run it by the staff. I'm the boss. But I run it by them. Why? Because I respect them. I respect them to give me feedback. And I want to over communicate with them. And I don't want them to find out information after or at the same time as the rest of the congregation too does. So over communicate always. Number 4, you are never too good for anything. You are never too good for anything. Now listen, you don't have to say yes to everything, but you should never make someone feel like what they offered is beneath you. Approachable leaders don't carry an attitude of, that's not my job. They carry an attitude of, how can I serve? Now listen, I pastor a church that is growing, and one of the growing pains that I've had to deal with is I cannot say yes to everything. But I would never, even if somebody asked me something to do something ridiculous, I would never make them feel like what they are asking me is beneath me. I think sometimes as church leaders, as business leaders, as leaders, sometimes our expression and how we deal with people can make them feel like what they are offering is beneath them. And we should never, ever make someone feel like what they are offering is beneath, because Jesus would never do that. Jesus was always loving to people, and Jesus is the ultimate leader, and we should be a leader like he was. Number 5, stay accountable even when you don't have to. Now, this is kind of like point number 3, but I think it bears the weight of being repeated a little bit. Stay accountable even when you don't have to. Real leaders don't avoid accountability, they lean into it. Like I said, I explain decisions to my staff, elders, directors, even when it's not required. Why? Because accountability doesn't weaken your leadership. It strengthens your leadership. Listen, if you bounce ideas off of people, if you allow them to be a sounding board, when you need it the most, they'll speak up because you've allowed that in your life. And sometimes they will save you from your boneheaded decisions, even when you don't realize it. Number 6, integrity is everything. My parents taught me growing up, you only get one word. And that was taught to them by their parents. My late Papa West always says you only have one name, and you only get one, you only get one mistake to ruin it. But if people feel like you're not telling them the whole truth, you've already lost ground. If people feel like you're dodging the truth, you've already lost ground. Approachable leaders are trusted leaders, and trust is built on consistency and honesty. You know, one thing I tell leaders, especially church leaders, even when you don't feel like it, show up with a good attitude. You know, there's some days that I show up here at church and I just don't want to be here. But you know what? You wouldn't know that because God has called me to a higher calling and I have to show up and be in a good attitude. So whenever you're watching this, at the time of filming this, we just had a baptism Sunday. And I'm going to be honest, I showed up. There wasn't a ton of people on the baptism list. And I'm like, man, I just suck as a pastor. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you listen. I'm not supposed to say suck. But anyway, I just felt like, man, I'm just no good. I'm just no good. And here at our church, we always, when we have baptism, we always allow room for spontaneous baptisms. And the first service, there was nobody on the list to be baptized. And I just said, okay, Lord, I really don't want to be here today, but I'm going to get up there, go through the motions, and I'm going to offer baptism. Nobody's going to get up, and I'm just going to move on and be discouraged. And I got up and I gave the call for baptism, and 5 people got baptized because I got up there. Nobody knew that I didn't want to be there. And I delivered what needed to be done. Now, yes, the Lord moved. The Lord was moving in their life. That wasn't me. But I have the responsibility as a leader to carry the mantle in which God has entrusted me. And I, as a leader, can squelch that moment just as easily as I can allow the freedom for God to move. Because I got up there with a good attitude, it allowed God to do his part and meet me where I am and even encourage me in my discouragement. But I didn't show up just, poor Eeyore, attitude. I showed up and I was here and I was approachable and I had integrity and I was accountable in everything I do. So number 6, we have integrity in everything. Our integrity is everything. So actually I already said that. Number 7, moving on. 7, value others above yourself. Value others above yourself. Now, I know I've kind of already said this, but like I said, it bears repeating and walking through a little bit more. This isn't just leadership, it's Jesus. Jesus didn't lead by position, he led by serving. If people feel valued, they'll come to you. If they feel overlooked, they will avoid you. I'm going to say that again. If people feel valued, they'll come to you. If they feel overlooked, they'll avoid you. And so always value others above yourself. I mean, it is the golden rule. God tells you to love others like you want to be treated. And so that is what we're called to do. Number 8, and I think this is probably the reason I kept this for last is this is probably the most challenging. And I'm going to take a nod to my British folk and use something that they say. Number 8, mind the generational gap. Mind the generational gap. Now, we live in a unique time. This is one of the only times in history that 5 generations are working together all at once. And let me tell you, if you've hung out with some of these Gen Z younger people, they speak a completely different language than we speak. But that's their language. It's okay. They can speak that language. It's fine. But you as a leader have to learn how to communicate with those people. Approachability means speaking their language. Younger people, they love to text. They love to Snapchat. I've also learned my kids love to send me voice notes. They don't want to type. They just send voice notes. I've noticed that. And older people love phone calls, face to face. I have some senior saints in my church that don't want to text me. They want to have phone conversations every time they want to talk to me. And you know what? As a leader, I have to meet them where they are, because if you refuse to meet people where they are, you'll come across as out of touch with those that are younger than you, and you'll come across as disrespectful to those that are older than you. Approachable leaders adjust, not just because they have to, they adjust because they care. And that's the ultimate thing. You want to speak the language of the people around you, not just because you have to, but because you want to communicate. You want them to feel like you care where they are. So if you have to learn how to text, do it. If you have to learn how to send voice notes, if you have to learn how to do something you don't know how to do, do it. If you're like me and don't want to slow down long enough to have a phone call, but somebody feels valued because you answer them on the phone, do it. It's okay, because you don't ever want someone to feel like you don't care or you don't care to hear. So to wrap this all up, let me give you a quick recap. Number 1, don't Jesus juke people. Number 2, be accessible. 3, over communicate always. 4, you're never too good for anything. 5, stay accountable even when you don't have to. 6, integrity is everything. 7, value others above yourself. And number 8, mind the generational gap. Now, let me sum it all up with this line. People don't approach titles. They approach trust. And trust is built by how you treat people every day. People are not going to approach you anymore just because you're pastor. Those days are long and gone. But people will approach you as a leader because you care about them, because you love them, and because you've chosen to invest in their lives. Thank you for listening to the Todd Barham Leadership Podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, press subscribe. If you're listening to us on any podcasting platform, you could rate and review us. That would really help out the show. We'll see you next time.